welcome back. I see some familiar faces. Thank you. My name is Daniel Nyohaku Soergel, and the Japanese middle name is a name given to me by my teacher, and that was after I completed a course of study, which was about 10 years. That entitled me to teach other people, which I do sometimes, but it's more of an honor. So that's what all that licensing is about. Now, what I just played, so this is from Buddhism, this tradition, but it's really Japanese to the core. And the piece I just played was a Shinto piece. So Shinto is a uniquely Japanese religion. And this piece that I just played would only be heard in a procession with the emperor, the emperor's family, maybe funerals and weddings. So think of like how long the Queen of England lived. And you don't hear this music very often. But this particular piece is a Japanese piece, probably from around year 700 or 800. And it was a really popular piece. Hard to imagine, but so it's got to be played loud, it's outdoors. But most of the music is played in the monasteries for hundreds of years. It came from the Tang Dynasty when Buddhism came to Japan. So this flute was originally a Chinese flute. It's got 4 holes on the front and 1 on the back. Originally, in China, it had 5. So China is all about 6. And Japanese is all about prime numbers, as we know. Koto, 13 strings. Shamisen, 3 strings. So I'm going to play a variety of music you'll hear. And this court music that I just played was written down, but it was sacred music. So it was illegal to play it differently. You could not improvise. You must be playing it properly. So for that purpose, it was written down. And if you think in the West, music wasn't scored until, the 1400s. So you're really hearing music that's over 1,000 years old when I play this. And that's why it sounds so strange. But it's fascinating. So I'm going to divert from the program just a little bit. That's extreme. And the shakuhachi can play loud. But it was really booted out, after a few hundred years, it was booted out of the Shinto orchestra, so to speak, replaced by a reed instrument, because it just wasn't loud enough. So kind of an oboe replaced this. The monks had other ideas because it can produce a very soft and beautiful sound. So what I'm going to play for you now is a meditative piece. So this is your chance to do a little emptying of your mind. So I'm not going to say much. I'll let you hear it and just experience it. Remember that there's no melody, there's no rhythm, there's no theme. So I was taught that melody and rhythm was what music was, but we're talking about Zen Buddhism here. So when you hear this and you get bored or sleepy, go to sleep, look around the room. If we were outside, you might see a bird fly by, or you'd hear the animals, you'd feel the wind. And so what this music is designed to do is to take over your attention and then let your mind wander. And so you become in a more relaxed stage. Now, I know people are very interested in meditation these days, and there are guided meditations to talk to you, what to think about. But we're talking about thinking about nothing and doing nothing. And that's very hard to do. So let's just say you focused on listening to some soft music. Then you really wouldn't be doing anything. So that's what I'm going to do for you now. This piece is called Banji. So you can't tell when the piece is over and put the flute down because there's no, it doesn't run like I'm not manipulating your emotions. Every musician takes you someplace, or filmmaker or writer. So this idea is, it's about you. It's not I'm taking control. It's really about you experiencing something in the moment. So that's a very important thing, and it's also helping people to quiet themselves and introduce a sense of calm and peacefulness. So there are entertaining pieces, and I've been walking around, playing them. But we're talking about spiritual music, so we're talking about the original meditation music. We're talking about original spiritual music, and of course we have it in the West, but this is the only musical instrument that plays pitches. In Buddhism, there are drums, there are bells, there's chanting. This is the scale. I kind of threw you right in the middle of this, but this is a piece called Choshi. It means tuning. It's really not kind of tuning the instrument a little bit so I get my sound and I get it going, but it's for tuning the mind. It's preparing the mind for a deeper experience. So for us players, that deeper experience is another piece that takes you even deeper. So there are levels of focus, and this is just a way of just centering your life, and I find it really wonderful. That's why I never stopped. I've been doing it for 35 years, so it's also when you're reaching for something and it's just out of reach, and if you try a little harder, and that kind of focus is important for people. It provides meaning, and it also humbles you. So what's so humbling about this, it's very hard to play. So that's why you don't see a lot of players. And if my lips get dry, I lose my sound. So that piece, you can tell when it was ending. And it has listen to this, it has an arc form. So when you go to a Japanese garden, you'll see a rock, and then you'll see a decorative bush, the round shape, and then it'll be on a hill, which is another round shape, and it'll be on the side maybe of a valley, which is another shape, and then there'll be the round clouds in the background. So I know I'm playing a flute talking about gardening, but that's part of Japanese design, this continuity and change of scale, in that case of the arc. So now if you think of a musical note, so my notes grow as you play, it swells and then it fades away. And so we think that the note is over when you don't hear it anymore. But let's just say the note is heard by somebody with better hearing than you, or it's heard by animals, or somehow it's creating a vibration. So when I finish my note, I don't really finish my note, I just breathe, and the note is applied on top of my breathing. So we don't cut, you don't use your tongue in playing shakuhachi. We're just going with nature, so a very large note will have a swell. Now, if you look at a bamboo leaf, from going down, it swells and then it fades slowly away. And that's an ideal shape for a note. So you've been hearing that, but so this instrument is suited for that. So if it would be a little difficult to play that on a Western flute. So I decided I would stay with this and study the spaces between the notes, because when that little last note has faded away and you don't hear it, there's this quietness, and that's called ma. And ma is very important. Like in Japanese art, the negative space, the empty space, there's a little maybe blossom down here at the corner, but there's just mountains in the background, and there's this huge sense of empty space. So that permeates all the arts. Zen permeates all the arts, and this feeling of emptiness. So when I play, I'm thinking about opening this up, an expanse, and not going on to the next note. And that's why there's no rhythm in this Zen Buddhist music.